The Roman governor who changed history with one decision and regretted it forever. Picture this. You're the most powerful man in a volatile province, and some local religious fanatics drag a harmless preacher to your office, demanding his execution. You think it's nonsense, just another crazy prophet in a land full of them. You try to let him go, but suddenly you're trapped between an angry mob and your own career survival. One decision, one signature, and your name gets written into the most widely read document in human history. Meet Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who never wanted to be famous, but ended up being remembered every Sunday in churches around the world. The man caught between empires. Let's set the scene. Judea in the 1st century CE was like managing a powder keg while blindfolded. This wasn't some peaceful Roman province. It was a recently conquered territory full of people who absolutely hated being ruled by foreigners. When Jesus asked about paying taxes to Caesar, he wasn't discussing economic policy. He was asking the most dangerous political question of his time. Should we cooperate with our occupiers or resist them? That's the world Pontius Pilate walked into around 26 CE. As prefect, or procurator, historians still argue about his exact title, he represented Roman power in a place that wanted nothing more than to throw off Roman rule. Think about being the face of an occupying government in a land where your very presence is seen as blasphemy. That was Pilate's daily reality. The career soldier who picked the wrong assignment, Pilate, wasn't some random political appointee. According to most historical accounts, he was a Roman knight from the Ponti family, basically minor nobility with military experience. He'd probably fought Germanic tribes and might have even been at the disastrous Battle of Teutoburg Forest. He was married to Claudia Procula, who had connections to Emperor Augustus himself. This guy had credentials, political backing, and military experience. He should have been able to handle one troublesome province. But Judea wasn't like fighting Germanic warriors, those enemies you could see coming. In Judea, every religious festival could turn into a riot, every administrative decision could spark a rebellion, and every day brought new ways to accidentally offend deeply held beliefs. The cultural mean-field Pilate kept stepping on religious landmines. Once, he ordered Roman standards with imperial images brought into Jerusalem. To Romans, this was normal military procedure. To Jews, it was sacrilege, graven images in their holy city. The reaction was so intense that Pilate had to back down. Imagine a Roman governor, representative of the world's most powerful empire, forced to retreat by angry protesters. His credibility was shot from day one. Then he tried a compromise: golden shields with dedications to the emperor, but no images. Still caused outrage. Pilate was learning the hard way that in Judea there were no safe moves, only different degrees of dangerous ones. The day that changed everything then comes that spring day in 33 CE, if the traditional dating is correct. Jewish religious authorities drag a preacher named Jesus to Pilate's court, demanding execution. From Pilate's perspective, this looked like typical local religious drama. Some guy claiming to be the Messiah? So what? Judea was full of self-proclaimed prophets and would-be messiahs. The Romans generally ignored internal religious disputes as long as they didn't threaten public order. Pilate examines Jesus and finds nothing. No crime against Roman law, no threat to imperial authority, no reason for execution. Case dismissed. But then the accusers get clever. They reframe the charges. Jesus claims to be King of the Jews. Now it's not about religion. It's about treason against Caesar. The trap closes. Here's where Pilate got caught in the kind of political vice that destroys careers. If he releases Jesus and word gets back to Rome that he freed someone claiming royal authority, his career is over. Tiberius was paranoid about potential rebels and didn't tolerate governors who seemed soft on treason. But if he executes an obviously innocent man just to appease a crowd, he compromises everything he's supposed to represent as a Roman magistrate: justice, law, imperial dignity. Pilate tried everything, sending Jesus to Herod, since Jesus was Galilean, offering to release him during the Passover amnesty, even having him scourged as punishment short of death. Nothing worked. The crowd wanted crucifixion, and they knew exactly which buttons to push. If you release this man, you are not Caesar's friend. The choice that echoes through history. In the end, Pilate chose career survival over justice. He authorized the crucifixion while literally washing his hands to symbolize his disagreement with the decision. It's the ultimate example of moral cowardice disguised as political pragmatism. Pilate knew what was right and chose what was safe. Except it wasn't even safe, because this decision would haunt him forever. The aftermath. Nobody talks about what happened to Pilate after the most famous execution in history. His troubles were just beginning. In 36 CE, Samaritans rebelled against Roman rule. Pilate crushed the rebellion and executed the leaders, standard Roman procedure. But the survivors appealed to Rome, claiming they hadn't rebelled against the empire, just against Pilate personally. That's when Rome finally said, "Enough." Pilate was recalled to face charges. His exact fate is unknown. He disappears from reliable historical records after that. But the legends? They're endless and contradictory. Some say he committed suicide from guilt over Jesus' execution. Others claim he converted to Christianity and was martyred under Caligula. The Coptic Church actually considers him a saint. Some stories have him returning to Scotland to preach the gospel. The truth is probably simpler and sadder. A career military man who made one terrible decision that destroyed his life and reputation. The name that won't die. Here's the irony. Pilate tried to avoid responsibility for Jesus' death, but his name is forever linked to it. Every time someone recites the Nicene Creed, they say, "suffered under Pontius Pilate." His attempt to distance himself from the crucifixion just ensured he'd be remembered for it. Archaeological evidence confirms he was real. Inscriptions, possibly even his personal ring. But he's remembered not for his military service, his administrative achievements, or his decade governing Judea. He's remembered for the one time he chose political expediency over justice. The lesson that still matters. Pilate's story isn't just ancient history. It's a timeless cautionary tale about moral courage under pressure. How many people have found themselves in situations where doing the right thing conflicts with protecting their career, their reputation, their security? Pilate had the power to save an innocent man and chose not to use it. That choice echoed through history in ways he never could have imagined. What do you think? Was Pilate a coward who betrayed justice, or a pragmatist trapped by impossible circumstances? And when have you faced choices between doing what's right and doing what's safe? Let me know in the comments.